Great. Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sunbury Services Committee meeting for February 4th, 2026. Can I get a roll call, please?
Damon Capel.
Here.
Nancy Crawford, absent. Tim Gose.
Here.
John Grundy.
Here.
Mayor St. John, absent. 3 present, we have a quorum.
All right. I will make a motion to approve the minutes from our January 7th meeting. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Roll call.
Mr. Grundy.
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mr. Gose.
Yes.
3 yeas, minutes passed.
All right. So our city engineer being out, Mr. Hensey is taking over the responsibilities.
That is me.
So,
Thank you.
well, I guess Jake is on my agenda first up. So should I just pitch it to Jake then?
Well, we can absolutely do that, or I'll do a little introduction.
Okay.
So we've been talking about trying to get Jake back in front of this group, talk a little bit about our snow and ice management plan. So we were going to try to do that at the beginning of the year, but now we've got him in the middle of the season, which may be even a better time. In front of you are some maps that he's going to kind of talk you through a little bit. But with that, Jake, take it away.
Perfect. So one of the main ones here that we've definitely had to utilize for one of the first times is kind of the emergency conditions priority mapping. So the main one that should be in front of you just encompasses all of the arterial and state routes and or roads determined to be necessary to keep clear in high accumulation events in order for anyone that has emergency needs to receive emergency services. Along with that.
So, and maybe connected to that. So we did use this, the emergency street priority map in the latest snow incident. So maybe what it would be helpful is, as residents of Sunbury, as you experienced it, if you heard feedback on maybe we've missed a kind of a key road or not, we'd certainly like to know that. But we do I think for the most part, you felt like you were able to kind of stay on top of the emergency roads. And then we kind of moved into the priority road. And then we moved back into the neighborhoods kind of as time would permit. I think that's.
Jake, can I ask a question real quick? I think you guys did an excellent job. And I know that there was a publication of what those roads are, the priority roads. Was there a message, and I don't know, was there a message attached to that also said the reason being these are priority roads is for what you just said was that part of the message? Because I just don't want residents saying, oh, it's nice that Sunbury Meadows gets plowed, but not, but there is a reason behind that, which is the priority because of.
Yeah, on the Facebook post, we did indicate that these are the priority roads because again, they're state routes, they're collectors, they're arterials, they're primary roads necessary in order for emergency purposes. Okay. And that was, that was in the message when we put that up.
Okay, thank you.
Along with that, with the design of this total coverage map, there are loop routes in order for the operators to try to take right at lights and to not have to stop or minimally stop during these type of events. And then, yes, as we get back into, as the operators are able to get ahead of this accumulation, they then branch back into getting all roadways in their sections.
We a little bit related to that then. So you do have an assigned individual to each section. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. So we have 5 sections. Each section is approximately 15 lane miles. So we are currently maintaining 75 lane miles. And each operator they run their section prior to any event just to make sure that they can identify any potential hazards prior to that. Also allows them to become familiar with the roadways that they're dealing with in low light conditions. Additionally, with that, each operator stays in the same sections. That way they become very versed with those roadways and what needs to be clean and cleared. Additionally, they're running the same piece of equipment as well, just in case there's any new noises that they can identify that concern and they are to stop and address that issue as soon as possible.
And maybe related to the equipment, we did add 1 new truck this year. Obviously, council had supported that. So,
yes, we added another Ford 550, and It is taking on Section E, which is the additional roadways of Magnolia, Rolling Hills, and Price Ponds. The truck is identical to the other 550s we have in the fleet, aside from the fact that it has a wide out front snow blade. So it can then adjust from about an 8.5 foot to about 11 feet. And
Oh.
it is able to clear just about as much roadway as our larger Western Stars are.
They're all 550s, huh?
Just 3 of the 5, yes.
3 of the 5.
Yeah, the other 2 are 4,700 Western Stars. Those are bigger trucks. Those primarily take on state routes because they have much better range as far as they can hold a bigger payload of salt. They can stay on the roadway much longer, so they kind of have further out routes.
Now, when we became a city, I know that we had to take over responsibility for the state routes, but I also remember being told that ODOT would leave their blades down as they drove through town. Are we seeing that still, or is it all on us?
We are seeing that still. That is still the current understanding, and we are then responsible for the turn lanes is where we take up the additional. We absolutely, at all times, keep the blade down when that's necessary in salt. And with each section with the highlighted maps, that's what the operators are supposed to make sure it gets clean and clear. There's going to be some overlap, unfortunately, but it is minimized as much as possible to not waste efforts and or materials. Along with that, after we get done with operations, there's always a pre and post truck inspection just to make sure equipment's in good working condition, not only for the safety of the operator, but also for the safety of the public. We have had a few issues with our trucks, but they have all been mostly handled in-house, which is good. That's a compliment to the team's skill sets and ability to keep this fleet up in operation at the highest level it is possible.
Yeah, and so maybe just also a little bit about the team. So I think, Tim, as you had indicated, there are 2 large trucks. Those 2 large trucks do require CDL,
Yes,
but you've got 3 CDL operators. So
I do have currently 3 CDL operators within the department. Be myself, the crew lead, Michael Hall, and our soon-to-be maintenance worker 2 operator, Corey Wilkinson. They've been with us for several years now. They're very much a pillar to our department. We are looking to add 2 more operators with Class Bs, and that would be Robert Kenny, and that would be Cole Likens. So we're hoping to have those guys within the next 6 months added to the list of operators that can operate under a Class B license.
yeah, so that's we're in pretty good shape when it comes to CDL operators. I mean, I know we've kind of been bouncing around a little bit, but we're getting absolutely closer to that. Having said that, not all trucks require a CDL, so clearly they are still operating in some of those sections. Now, 2 of them are brand new, I think, this year. So, and we have relied a little bit on the sanitary team, so maybe a little bit.
Yes, we do have a couple younger operators to some of the sections just because they have recently joined the department. They're doing exceptionally well. Again, that's just testament to their skills. They did bring previous snow and ice removal experience with them when they joined the department. Along with that, we did have to reach out to the wastewater department for additional manpower to take care of operations and trying to run 24/7 through this recent heavy accumulation event. And those operators were Luke Urban and Landon Dogstrup. Thank you.
Not an easy name.
The last
What's
name.
the last name? What's the last name?
It's Dogstrup. DAUG or STRUP. It's a little tricky name.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. But really appreciate them doing that. It does impact the wastewater team though as well, because if they're out on a 12-hour shift, then they're maybe not in with the wastewater team. So Dale and Wesley have kind of picked up the slack from the wastewater side.
Yeah. This last event, were all 5 of the trucks running pretty much continuously, or what's your start and stop like during a snowstorm? Yeah.
Yep, so we ended up starting the operations close to midnight on the Friday. And so with the night shift, Saturday, thank you, with the night shift, we were only able to run 2 operators. So one operator had to run 2 sections of emergency roadways.
Gotcha.
The other operator had to run 3 sections. So that was 30 lane miles to try to keep it approximately, at least with the emergency conditions, and then 3 for the other operator. That's all we had for the night shift. During the daytime, which was running from 5 a.m. till 5 p.m., we had all 5 trucks in their sections, again, enacting the emergency conditions roadway list, and then tailing into the other roadways when they were able to catch up with those.
Yeah, so if you think about the last storm, so basically the 5-person crew was working on the Sunday when it was snowing the whole day. I think it did, well, I don't know, I was gonna say it tapered off, but actually it did kind of keep going into the evening. So, but again, the bulk of that snow, we had somebody in every section of the city throughout the entire day. Then the evening shift came back and replaced that, and they sort of swapped out 12 on, 12 off, or roughly.
Yes, yep. And then, yeah, again, at the end of the operations, everyone was able to do so. Nobody had any issues. No vehicles were negatively impacted. So fortunately, the fleet, again, due to the guys' ability to properly pre and post trip inspect the trucks, we were able to keep the fleet on the road as much as possible.
Speaking of impact, is the public doing pretty well at clearing their roads from the streets? Because we always encourage them to lighten up on the street parking when we have a snow emergency.
There was a significant difference in the roadside parking during this event. So that it was better.
Okay.
It was absolutely better.
Yeah.
So that is also a thanks to the community for their efforts in trying to get their vehicles out of the roadway. Made it easier for us to get through and try to clean curb to curb.
Excellent. Glad to hear that.
Along with that, then one of the other things that we tackle and that poses a little bit of a challenge is cul-de-sacs. So those definitely come towards the tail end of events. We make sure to get the through lanes as much as possible. With those cul-de-sacs, we do try to make sure that we are not piling, but we do have to in these accumulation of levels at some point. We make sure we're avoiding driveways, mailboxes, and fire hydrants, again, as much as feasibly possible. We do not like to leave any piles into those cul-de-sacs, because that just poses a hazard for any vehicular traffic.
And then the sidewalk crew.
And then additionally, more towards the tail end of the events, and also depending on when the event itself will accumulate, we do have a 2-man team for our sidewalks. They come in, they take care of getting all the pathways and even walking paths cleaned up for the city. And with that, they operate a couple of our smaller cabbed equipment that run brushes. We do have a plow attachment to the one piece of equipment in the event of heavy accumulation. That piece of equipment would take the lead, pushing the bulk of it out of the way, and following behind it would be the brush equipment to make sure it gets the final polish, getting it back to a good surface, and applying salt. With that,
So in your packet, there is a list of the city sidewalks.
I saw
Parking
that.
lot.
So every one of these in the packet got addressed, right, during the storm?
Yeah, that,
Yep.
yeah.
and then after the event, those get reviewed to make sure that we are accomplishing those. And in some instances, we did have one of the piece of equipment needing repairs, so we were not able to operate at full capacity, meaning that there was a longer delay in us being able to get some of these walking paths and or sidewalks back to good conditions.
I heard somebody comment on the GRE walking path being clear.
I saw
They're
that.
very appreciative of that, I know.
That's a lot of work right there.
That is a lot.
It is, and we are expanding those sidewalk operations. That was something we've been trying to expand to, and with the additional trailers that we have to mobilize those pieces of equipment to those locations safely, we're able to pick up these additional walking paths to make sure that we are trying to maintain things at a high level as possible.
Yeah, really proud of the team for doing that. I know that, get a lot of focus is on the roads as it should be, but, the city does have, a fair number of parking lots and sidewalks where we do have a responsibility for that, and trails. And the fact that we can get to some of the trails, yeah. I saw the positive feedback on that as well. So that was wonderful news.
The asphalt trail there and the Miller Drive that goes out to the new school.
Yeah.
They're solely responsible for that, right? The school.
That's the school's responsibility.
Wonder, I mean, I thought that was the case. I think they're a little bit slow getting that one done.
It might have been.
Got a couple of people in my neighborhood, where are they gonna get that map? I said, hey, go talk to the school board, and I'll go talk to, who did we talk to? The manager over there, or the maintenance supervisor?
Probably the facilities director, I'm guessing.
Maybe you're
Yeah.
the maintenance supervisor.
Yeah, or the maintenance
So-
supervisor, yeah.
Well, I definitely think your team is to be congratulated, and I appreciate
Absolutely.
how much work they're putting in and how well done our streets are. I drive all the way down to campus every day. And most of the better roads I was on during the snowstorm were here in town. So
Yeah.
definitely appreciate
I
it.
received that same feedback that, once you got out to the, outside of Sunbury, even the Polaris area was just a total mess, and off ramps and stuff. I'm sure they were terrible, but getting into town, much better driving conditions. And I echo what these guys just said, because, small mighty team. And you guys clearly have a passion to serve the city, because it took a lot to do that. And I think it's something that can be taken for granted. So I appreciate you guys doing that. And the wastewater guys too, for stepping in that cross training and doing that too. That's just teamwork right there. So, and good communication. I have one question. Do we have, because we're small mighty, do we have any type of contingency plan? Let's just say you would, and this is a rare event, right? I mean, this happens once every 5, 8 years, whatever.
Hopefully longer.
Yeah, right, exactly. But like, what if you had 2 trucks go down? Can we call on a township, the city, or, somebody to come and help?
Yes, and so that I think Daryl can answer maybe a little bit better than I can, as we're trying to work with the Delaware Soil and Water as
Yeah.
far as extra personnel and equipment during those type of situations.
Okay.
We do have some redundancy with the department currently. One of the 250s is outfitted enough to where it does have blading and plowing and salting capabilities. So we do have that, as well as the wheel loader. We were able to have that 11-foot blade attachment to that as well. That's primarily what is initially used for getting to cul-de-sacs. But in the event one of the trucks does go down, we're at least able to keep the snow accumulation off the roadways until a secondary truck is able to address that section and salt it.
Yeah, great feedback. The other thing is maybe just a little bit unique for this snowstorm is we were concerned about keeping the police parking lot open so they could get the vehicles in and out of that. And actually they cooperated as well. I think you pre-staged a piece of equipment.
We put one of our smaller pieces of compact tractor with a front loader in their parking garage, and fenced-in area is more accurately the way to describe it. So they were able to move bulk of the snow out of the way, so that way we would be able to come in and salt, just so that way if they had the need of getting out of their quickly, they can maintain getting good traction and getting out there pretty quickly. So it is also very much helpful that the police department assisted with some of the snow removal from their parking area as well.
Are we in good shape for salt?
Good segue.
Yes, we just refilled the barn with about 300 tons of salt, so it is absolutely to the brim. That was very much a teamwork of a couple of our seasoned operators to make sure that all fit in there safely. So that's where we are currently sitting at. And that is predicted to get us well beyond the remainder of this snow and ice season.
Excellent. Yeah, but certainly a great question, because you may remember that we joined the cooperative salt purchase agreement, and we based our salt purchase on, I think, the average of the prior 5 years or something like that. But we've gone through it all. So we've exceeded an average year, and Jake and his team were able to get some additional salt from the county engineer.
Yep.
Yeah, from the county engineer's office. So that great. We really appreciate their willingness to give us some of their salt. The other thing, I think, that as we think about the cooperative purchasing agreement for next year, when we look at our road mileage now, I think we were calculating it based upon, again, a number less than 75 lane miles, maybe closer to 60-ish or something like that. So, now that we've added the rolling hills and the Price Ponds and the Magnolia Park, and just some other, miscellaneous places. So Anyway, so we'll get better with that with time, but yeah, the good news is we're in good shape with respect to salt. The other thing that maybe is also important to note is, and you do have it in your packet as well, we do have a cooperative agreement with Berkshire Township when it comes to some plowing, so just talking a little bit about that. So that's one of the documents we handed to you.
Yes, so it has expanded from the previous year just to take on some more lane miles trading, just logistically from us having to go out to 3Bs and K, the township's taking that on for us. And in place of that, we're taking on lane miles near our corporation. That way, again, logistically, it makes sense for us to be able to take on. So what has increased from the previous year to this year is we're taking on the portion of Golf Course Road, which is then between Cheshire and South Galena Road. So we were able to come to an agreement with that. That was a fairly nice and smooth process. So definitely thankful that we were able to come to such an easy agreement with the township. And it seems to be so far working out very well. The operators have adjusted to this increased demand and roadway responsibility. And we're seeing good results with that at this point in time.
So on the council agenda this evening is the third reading regarding road maintenance of 3Bs and a K. So this is kind of related to that. So we talked about as part of an annexation commitment that was made a few years ago for the what is now the ravines at Meadow Ridge. The city had indicated that it would work out a maintenance agreement with the townships. So it's both Berkshire and Berlin Township were affected by that. So that agreement applies to basically all road maintenance, but for snow and ice. And it basically says snow and ice will be dealt with in a different agreement. And that's what this is. So basically they agree to do the whole thing with respect to snow and ice. We pick up again the areas a little closer to the city. That agreement that we'll talk about a little bit later this evening, that's basically maintaining the condition of the pavement itself. If we were to improve the road, that's a shared responsibility. We have a portion of the road. Berkshire takes a portion of the road, and then Berlin takes a portion of the road. So, and our portion is not all of what's in the city. It actually doesn't go all the way down past Eagle Creek at this point. So it's kind of the northern leg of 3Bs and a K. So, yeah. So yeah, a lot going on, I guess, with respect to kind of road maintenance, snow and ice, et cetera, et cetera. So glad that we could get Jake in front of you to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, thank you for coming tonight, Jake. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all your team.
For letting me try to describe things.
So we're going to keep Jake with us.
Good.
And talk about storm sewer improvements. So if you go to your packet page, I guess it starts on packet page 4. There's a proposal in there to repair some stormwater, a stormwater line that we identified as kind of a key issue. So you may recall last year when we had that flash flooding incident, we came to the Services Committee and I think basically identified 4 or 5 areas of the city where, we've got some issues. One of those areas is this area up near the reservoir. So actually, why don't you talk a little bit about it, and then we can talk about what the proposal tells us.
Yeah, so unfortunately during that flooding, heavy rainfall, it was identified that this area was severely underwater. And after further investigation, determined that we do have a storm line that runs through the property there that just wasn't functioning properly. There were several collapses and obstructions causing a section of line to not function properly. As well as there was a yard drain there to help alleviate. It was still functioning at some capacity, just not at the capacity it could possibly be at. So with that, we started looking into and trying to identify what would be the best course of action and try to get this back into operation. And we're looking to do a repair for this section of line. It's approximately 180 feet of storm line, about 15 inches of concrete is what's currently there. We're looking to go with PVC in place of that. Should last a substantial amount of time. And with that, we will retain the yard basin to allow drainage from the property because it is a low-lying parcel. when it does receive a lot of runoff in that area, it would be able to then take that on and prevent that accumulation. Additionally, we're looking to have this accomplished here before this coming season, spring. So maybe we can try to get it back in a good functioning condition before it decides to try to flood again on us.
Exactly. So, so this is affecting a couple of property owners there along Otis Street, in kind of behind, again, it's water running down off of the reservoir into this backyard over. Yeah. So again, a couple of property owners had flooding in the backyard. So one of the things we had done in the capital budget for this year has set aside $75,000 for that repair, thinking again, may have to go with a new line in a different direction, but as Jake has indicated, I think we can do this with a repair of a segment of the existing line without a replacement or a redirection of a line. So the proposal here for a little over $20,000 basically will allow us to do that. So again, well below what we had budgeted for this project. We did get another quote on this from a separate contractor as well, which was substantially higher than this number. So mostly just want to alert you to the fact that we're trying to tackle these stormwater issues one at a time. This was an item that's in the capital budget. We'll bring it to the next council meeting, basically for approval of the the proposal, and hopefully again get this taken care of early this spring. The next page in the packet then talks about a couple of other stormwater issues that we're going to spend some money on this year as well. They're kind of in reverse order, but if you look at that graph at the very lower end, in 2026, it talks about East Granville Street storm lining, 10-inch pipe, and there should be an R in there, incrustation. So this is the 37 widening project that we've been talking a lot about. So we put money in the budget to basically clean out the interior of that pipe, to basically eliminate whatever is kind of choking it out from internally. So that's another storm project that'll take place this year. And then the other one, Letts Avenue storm improvements. I think this is for design purposes in 2026 and then construction in 2027. So that's just kind of a preview of what you'll see in next year's capital budget as it relates to storm improvements.
So Daryl, the East Granville, that's the 35-1, that's separately budgeted than the 75 for this other okay. So, well, thank you for, that's quite a savings.
Yeah.
And so it was a great job identifying what needed to be fixed and then finding a good bid. So thank you.
Thanks to Jake and his team.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great savings.
So the 36, or I'm sorry, the 37 improvement, again, when we had this big rain last year, there was a period of time in which that low level was flooded out. I mean, cars could kind of get through there, but wasn't really the safest condition. And it did clear relatively quickly, but it still was creating a temporary hazard over there. So this will be a step to kind of improve the flow of that stormwater.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was identified when we were cameraing the line to see what was going on with it. So fortunately, structurally, it looks like it's in good shape. There's just so much debris that the displacement won't allow enough water to flow through, which then creates a delay in how fast it can take the water off the roadways.
So anyway, that's just a little update on what's happening with stormwater. And then the last thing in your packet wanted to talk through is the pavement maintenance group. We have a proposal in the packet. You may recall that we talked about, this is the roadway assessment. So a couple of years ago now, Verdantis sent a few of its engineers out to walk all the city streets and do an assessment of the condition so that when we do our when we do our street program, we're tackling the worst streets first, and it also gives us an indication of which ones we might be able to go out and do some crack filling on and kind of extend the life. But one of the things that Carla had talked about was trying to go to an AI system this time to see if we could use that as a way to assess the additional conditions. So what you have in the packet here is we had requested proposals for this AI assessment. I think we got maybe three or four proposals back. This is the one identified as the most qualified applicant to do the work. And it includes then the pricing information as well. So on the very last page, the cost to do it is $25,000. We estimated this to be at about $20,000. But original estimate assumed that we had 60 road miles or lane miles. And after we determined that we have 75 lane miles, I mean, that's what really results in the difference in price. The other thing to note that this last item, the specialized consulting and support, that's only if needed. So that's for $5,000. So we may not draw the full amount down. And then the streets, the line that has $200 per mile. Again, if at the end of the day, it ends up being, 72 miles, it will only be charged for the actual mileage. So that's kind of the upper end number there. So again, feel like this is right in line with what we had budgeted for, and very much gets us, an updated assessment without, the subjectivity that maybe comes from having, an engineer walk around the streets and try to come to some kind of.
And this is a 2-year? Is
Yes.
that right?
Yeah.
And so, and just to summarize, Gerald, just to wrap my head around this. So they are gonna using, looks like AI and other technology to grade the streets, to help us prioritize A, what streets, and B, what's the best process or path forward to make them better.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yep. And we'll also then be able to upload the data into our GIS system, just another way to kind of build that system out a little bit more, one more layer, if you will. So again, this will be another thing that you'll see at a future council meeting, just a recommendation to accept this proposal and move forward with that. But did want to just share with you that, that's kind of where this process stands at the moment. Carla will certainly be able to provide more, comment on that at the next meeting if you need some more input. All right. And then wastewater treatment plant. So given that we had what I thought would be 2 new members here, but we have 1 new member here. I thought it might be helpful to just look at the map of the wastewater treatment plant. So a large map in front of you.
Good idea.
Yeah. So we've shown this to the services committee a couple of times, but again, Tim wanted to help get you a little bit up to speed on what's happening here. So this is kind of an overlay of our existing wastewater plant, and then it's got what would be the new buildings or new structures identified on there, so you get roughly the location of them. So as you sort of look at this at the top, maybe whatever 20% of the page, you'll see there's a tertiary filter building, and you see new aerobic digester 4 and 5. Those are the components of the wastewater treatment plant that are being primarily built today. They're the first things that we've started on. The digesters are almost complete, and the filter building, again, is kind of in process at the moment. So those are 2 key additions to the wastewater treatment plant that are currently underway. Then there are a couple of other kind of ancillary buildings, like the tertiary treatment effluent lift station, which is right next to that. There's a drain pump station, and then there's the blower building over there as well. So those are all new to the wastewater treatment plant expansion. Then when you come down to roughly the middle of the page, those buildings are essentially existing today. There are some dates around them because they'll be improved as a result of the wastewater plant expansion. And then over on the sort of the middle center, you'll see a new secondary clarifier number 3. That also is a part of this wastewater treatment plant expansion. And then the other, I guess if you go down to the bottom portion of the page, the solids handling facility, that building exists today, but I think the plan is to expand that building. I think that's part of what this particular project is all about. The oxidation ditches, they exist today. There's not, I don't think there's too much in the way of improvements, a little bit, but not, those structures already exist today. The other thing I wanted to point out to you is, and I've got this in the manager's report, is we did have a small electrical fire at the wastewater treatment plant. And so I wanted to kind of tell you where that is and what happened. So if you look to the center of the page, you'll see there's aerobic digester number 1, kind of center right. You kind of see the center right. Aerobic center. All right, so the digester exists today, and that sort of structure immediately to the left, this called the sludge transfer lift station area. There was a small electrical fire in one of the vaults in that area, so it was contained quickly. It did not result in any permanent damage or any damage that resulted in having to shut the plant down. So the plant is fully functioning. It is part of the wastewater treatment plant to do some improvements to that transfer station. So what's happened is apparently one of the, they called it a plug or a failure of some sort happened in the line, and the sludge basically backed up into this vault. And at the top of the vault was a electrical panel, and the electrical panel, once it got under the sludge, it basically burned itself out. That's where the electrical fire was.
How did we discover that, Daryl? Was there an alarm or just a system failure?
Well, it was the way that it was discovered is, well, first of all, there were members of the staff were at the plant on that Friday. So, I mean, they were there to kind of observe what was happening. But somebody from the Simonson construction team actually noticed what they thought was steam or whatever coming out of this pipe. And they kind of noted that maybe something had happened. And so they were the ones who kind of alerted us to something going on. And then Dale and his team immediately, cut off the electricity to that. They called the police department or the fire department. They called the electrical or AEP as well, AEP, just to make sure that the sludge wasn't, I'm going to say charged, with an electrical charge,
Well,
that they could get in there and do what they needed to do. They did get it pumped out. And again, the panel itself is damaged, so they've not been able to turn the power back onto the panel. But the panel operates a UV system, which Dale has not been using for some time, but will be a part of the plant improvement. There's an effluent meter reading in there that he will now have to do manually until they can get the electricity fixed on that. And then there are some couple of other small pieces in there as well. But again, nothing that has in any way materially affected the plant's operation.
okay.
So Daryl, quick, just follow up on Tim's question about an alarm and stuff. So had the contractor not seen the steam or the smoke, I mean, chances it could have gotten worse, I'm assuming it could have. So I don't know how it's set up, but do we have the ability to put alarms or something to trigger or that's monitored to say, hey, something's wrong with this breaker or this pump or what have you?
Yeah, I mean, the whole electrical system of the wastewater plant is being upgraded as a result of the plant improvements. They call it a SCADA system, and it's got all kinds of monitors throughout the plant. I'll ask Dale as to, I suspect there would be something monitoring this particular one when the new UV system is installed. I'll confirm that with him just to make sure, but yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Now, the other side of this that happens, just I'll share this because we've got a couple minutes, is that, so it happened on the Friday afternoon leading into the weekend when the big snowstorm was coming. And all I could think about, and it was freezing cold, you remember how cold it got, right? I mean, all I could think about was, oh my gosh, this plant cannot go down this weekend. Yeah. Because, well, that'd be awful.
Yeah.
But I need those two sewer guys to be out there plowing snow this thing. And oh boy, now Jake's gonna be mad at me too. So anyway, but fortunately it all, like I said.
See Daryl in a big old truck.
Oh, good. Yeah, they'd see me in a truck though. I'd say a small truck.
It's not true.
We might try some other avenues first.
It might actually have a broom on the front.
Something better than nothing.
Or I might have been in the police department parking lot. I don't know.
A shovel.
Where I could have done too much. But anyway, yeah, I'll check on that to make sure. So. And I think that's essentially the list for tonight. So unless you've got any questions. Carly will be back next month.
What's that?
Carly will be back next month.
All right.
Great. Question on the two tertiary filter building and the lift station pending and the drain pump station. As I recall, I think primary reason for that was AWS related, right?
Not
Preparation.
really. I think what you're thinking is, as we've talked a little bit about it, the AWS building, one of the things we're talking about is using the effluent to help cool
Yes.
the production process. That would actually involve, oh shoot, what am I trying to say? It's not the tertiary filters. The tertiary filters help,
Mhm.
but there's actually another process that would be added, another building would be added to the site, and additional lines going in and out. The tertiary building actually is critical for meeting our phosphorus limits. We've talked a lot about how stringent those phosphorus limits are, and we're about to double the size of the plant, and yet we can't put any more phosphorus into the stream. So the tertiary filters basically send all of that effluent through another process to helpfully, through the filtering process, to basically get that out of the system before it's dumped into the stream.
It discharges there into Prairie Run, doesn't it?
Is this Prairie Run?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, right near the entry. So if you're looking kind of middle left side, you can see the roadway coming in. It's just south of that is where it, discharges into the creek. Yeah, Prairie Run.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, does anybody have any last minute questions for Jake or Daryl?
Just to say real quick,
Yeah.
I see the next meeting is March the 4th. I will be out of town. So I will not.
As long as other people show up.
Right. All right.
It should be here. I don't forget.
Oh, shoot. Oh, I have to come back to that one. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn then. Can I get second by Mr. Goes? Roll call?
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mr. Grumney.
Yes.
3 yeas, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Is it end?